Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a horror film, Art of Devil, Part 2. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a man paddling across a river where he catches a fish. The man proceeds to take the hook from it. However, he struggles to pull it out, but accidentally stabs his thumb with the hook. Later that night, puncture wounds appear in his body. In response, his family quickly takes him to their local healer to get him. When they arrive, they tie the man on a chair, and the healer uses a traditional tool to create smoke around the man, causing him to scream in pain. After that, the healer takes a damp towel and puts it on a puncture wound. When the healer takes off the towel, she sees the marks and believes it is from a curse. Then the healer puts her fingers inside the puncture wound, and when she removes her finger, a fish hook comes out of the man's body. After that, the healer recites a spell to cast away the curse. But instead of getting better, more hooks start to come out from the puncture wounds, and the man screams in pain. On the other hand, a student named Kim gets annoyed as a couple in her class are flirting during discussions. Seconds later, the professor dismisses them, and Kim immediately scolds the couple. After classes, Kim goes home, opens her fridge, and is shocked to see her nerd-looking friend inside, nicknamed Nerd. Nerd laughs at Kim's reaction, so Kim takes an act of silly revenge. Suddenly, Nerd attempts to kiss Kim, but Kim pushes his smelly ass away. Because of that, Nerd confesses his hormone feelings to Kim and asks her to be his girlfriend. However, a call interrupts their kiss moment. Their fun-loving friend, Cookie, calls to inform them that their friend, Ta, is grieving because of the recent death of his father. The group of friends consists of Kim, Nerd, Cookie, a tomboyish girl, Tare, and a stylish girl, Newt. They all met in high school, and they had not seen each other since their graduation 2 years ago. Therefore, for the first time in 2 years, the group decides to reunite for a comfort visit to Ta and his family. While on the train, Kim reminisces about their past. A flashback plays when they all become friends thanks to Ta, who confesses his feelings to Kim through a love letter. After their classes, the group goes to their teacher's house. Their teacher, Panner, is also Ta's stepmother. Panner treats the group as her children and lets them stay at her house. Suddenly, Panner's other son rudely asks her for money, so Panner kindly excuses herself. Then, as the group prepares to leave, Kim asks Nerd about Ta's family. Nerd shares that Ta's mother died when he was young, and years later his dad married Panner, but Ta does not get along with his stepmother. The flashback ends just before the train reaches its destination. Ta is happily waiting for the group, and they excitedly greet each other. However, Ta becomes jealous when he sees Kim and Nerd holding hands. Ta dismisses it, and they all go to a mausoleum where Ta's father's ashes are kept. Ta shares that he went to a disciplinary school because of his stepbrother's continuous involvement in fights. While Ta was in school, his stepmother started to have problems, and his father could not handle all the mess, so he killed himself. Ta just got out of school to take care of his father's funeral. The guys comfort Ta and suggest they continue to talk at Ta's home. While they are going to Ta's house, the group sees a commotion. They see a tattooed man growling like he is possessed. Suddenly, a second flashback plays when Ta and his stepbrother get into a street fight involving the police. Because of that, Panner harshly punishes Ta by repeatedly hitting him with a stick. Ta accepts all of the physical pain, but Panner suddenly insults him and his father, which pisses Ta. Ta bursts out and talks back, but Ta's father stops him and takes him away before hurting Panner. After that, while Ta's father treats his bruises, he pleads to Ta to respect Panner and his stepbrother. The next day, while the group is drinking, they are caught by their school coach, who turns out to be the man being cursed with hooks in the earlier scene. The coach scolds them and touches Newt's uniform, indirectly making a sexual advancement on her. Cookie attempts to fight, but the coach stops him and hits them. After that, the coach orders them to bring their parents to school the following day. The day after, Panner comes to the school. Ta sees Panner and the coach on the school grounds, and then he follows them. It leads Ta into the coach's room, where he witnesses Panner having an affair with the coach. Later that day, Ta informs his father about Panner's infidelity, but she denies the accusation. As expected, the father believes Panner's words. The father angrily slaps Ta because he thinks he is lying about the affair to ruin Panner. The next day, the group is incomplete because Kim is not with them. Later that day, they record Panner having a passionate hormone game with the coach. Suddenly, the coach sees them, so Panner immediately gets dressed and leaves while the coach chases the group. They try to run away, but the barricade is locked. While cornered, Nerd discreetly tosses the camera's memory card. Following that, Newt cries as she apologizes to the coach, who just ignores her words and unbuttons her uniform. Because of that, the guys attack the coach, and they engage in a physical fight and then attempt to run. Suddenly, the coach gets his gun and aims at the students, which causes the group to stop in fear. After that, the coach holds the group at gunpoint, while he sexually abuses Newt by forcing her mouth onto his smelly hot dog. Later that day, the group goes to a shaman, trying to take revenge by casting a curse on the coach. The shaman asks them if they are sure with their decision, because once they use black magic, it will haunt them forever. Despite the warning, the group still agrees, so the shaman tells them what they need for the curse, which consists of the coach's birth date, photograph, jacket, and the dirt he stepped upon. The following day, the group brings the needed materials to the shaman. Before the ritual, the shaman warns them not to open their eyes unless he is finished. The shaman puts a fish hook into a fish's mouth, which the coach will catch eventually, and that will cause his death, revealing the plot as we have seen at the beginning of the film. Meanwhile, Panner is in the cafeteria, when her infidelity video with the coach suddenly plays on the huge screen. The next day, the group sees Panner in the faculty room, stabbing herself repeatedly in her legs while murmuring a ritual prayer, but she does not seem to be in pain. The flashback ends, and the scene returns to the present, where the group is arriving at Ta's cottage in a river. Kim pays the boat owner, and the boat owner looks at the group before he gives the change and paddles away. Kim notices that her change is too much, so she tries to call the boat owner. But the machine's noise overpowers her voice. Then the group pays respect to Ta's grandmother, who rudely ignores them. So the group comes into the cottage, and Ta instructs them to worship the shrine while he fixes their beds. Afterward, the group visits Panner, and she welcomes them to her home. Suddenly, Newt's phone rings, so she excuses herself to answer the call. Meanwhile, Kim has a conversation with Panner about their group's chosen professions. Then, minutes later, Newt returns and says that she lost the signal, so Panner tells them that they can only get a signal from the old shrine near the cottage. Newt informs everyone that her uncle is waiting at the train station, as her father is in the hospital. Before Newt leaves, she kisses Tara on the lips, but Cookie interrupts them. Moments after, Cookie continues to tease Tara. So, Tara changes the subject to Nerd to tell him to talk to Ta about Kim, as Kim and Ta had a history together. A flashback shows when Kim breaks Ta's heart, when she ends her relationship with him to become a doctor. Meanwhile, while Kim is changing her clothes in a room, she suddenly hears a sound. She goes out to see if her friends are playing with her. However, her friends are nowhere around, so she goes to Grandma's cottage. Suddenly, one of the windows opens, and Kim steps back. Kim bumps into Nerd, who skeptically dismisses Kim's paranoia. After that, Kim confronts Ta about their past and asks him to respect her relationship with Nerd. Afterward, Ta and Kim return to the cottage, where their friends suddenly jump to the river and take Ta and Kim with them. Meanwhile, Kim sees a spot under the cottage that looks like it is boiling, and a white figure suddenly appears. Kim informs the group about it, but Cookie dismisses her and makes fun of Tara about being in love with Newt. Later that night, Kim brings food outside for the cat, but all she hears are the cat's growls. Then the door suddenly opens on its own, revealing Ta's grandmother devouring the cat. The group hears Kim's screams, so they immediately go to her, and Ta quickly stops his grandma from eating the cat. The grandma repeatedly says she is starving. After that, the group returns to Ta's cottage, and they are all tense up. So Ta consolidates his friend not to mind his grandma, as she is senile. At that same time, Panner is in a secret hut in the jungle, where she changes her clothes, revealing strange symbols on her body. Afterward, Panner talks to her son's corpse, as if he is alive, and then she takes a blowtorch to clean her son. The moment after, Panner takes out the rotting head of the shaman who cast the curse on the coach before. Then she takes out 5 decaying bodies from giant jars and puts the group's picture on each corpse. After that, she proceeds to chant a black magic prayer. Simultaneously, the group prays at the nearby shrine to cast away evil spirits, but the incense stops burning as soon as they leave. Afterward, the group enjoys the delicious soup that Panner made for them. While taking the soup, Cookie feels something in his mouth. To his surprise, he spits out a fingernail. On the other hand, Nerd spits up a pierced tongue, whereas Kim spits out an eye contact lens and Tara spits an eyeball. The group realizes that the meat they are eating is Newt's dismembered body parts. As the group realizes that Panner is insane, they look for her in the cottage. However, Panner is nowhere to be found. A cold breeze suddenly brushes off Kim, and Nerd sees her nose bleeding. Kim's face is ashen, and veins are seen sticking out. Kim walks to the cabinet with her trembling state and takes a video camera. Suddenly, Kim faints. After that, Kim wakes up back to her normal state, and they all watch the disturbing video of Panner eating the shaman's flesh while hitting the person recording her. The group remembers the shaman's warning right when they expose Panner's infidelity. Meanwhile, Panner puts her blood on a corpse with Tara's picture on it and mumbles a spell. Because of that, Tara feels a cold breeze slap her face, and when she opens her eyes, she sees 3 corpses looking right at her. Tara screams in horror. In confusion, though, the group decides to leave the place. When they get to the lighthouse, they immediately call for a boat to help. Suddenly, Panner comes out and scares the incoming boat driver. The The boat loses control and drives towards the group, which causes Kim to fall into the water. While in the water, Kim gets a vision of Ta's father and stepmother Panner. In the vision, Ta's father is tied on a chair, while Panner mercilessly rips off his toenails. Panner tortures Ta's father, so he cannot leave her even after discovering her infidelity. Afterward, when Panner leaves the room, Ta's father shoots himself in the head. The flashback ends, and Ta rescues Kim from the water. Then Kim goes inside the cottage and takes the gun under the bed. After that, she discloses to the group the things she discovered from her vision. Suddenly, they see one of the jar's lids moving on its own, so the guys push it sideward. To their surprise, Ta's dead father comes out along with pickled mangoes. After that, the doors and windows shut on their own. The lights start to flicker and pictures on the wall fall onto the ground. As the windows slam repeatedly, Ter sees other corpses around the cottage. The group decides to take Ter to the sacred room. Even though Ter continuously sees the ghost, Ta reassures her that they will be safe inside the sacred room. Nerd steps up to calm his friends and instructs them to pray. While the group is praying, Ter suddenly laughs as she gets possessed by Panner. All of the lights go out, so Nerd lights up a candle. They are shocked to see that the statues' heads are gone. Ter continues to laugh, and Cookie aims the gun at her. Meanwhile, Panner uses her power, which causes Cookie to scream in pain as dozens of salamanders claw their way out of his body, causing his painful death. After that, Nerd instructs Kim to stay with Ter, as he and Ta will find Panner to kill her. Ter continues to shake from fear while her suffering prolongs as the ghosts of the corpses continuously make themselves visible to her. Petrified, Ter runs away from the cottage. Kim tries to chase Ter to the forest, and she suddenly falls straight into the river. The guys hear Kim's screams, and Ta promptly runs to her, leaving Nerd alone. Nerd tries to go after Ta, and Panner suddenly comes out of nowhere, causing Nerd to run away in horror. On the other hand, Ta rescues Kim, and she screams in pain as Ta pulls out a piece of metal from her leg. Seconds later, Ter comes out in front of Kim, quivering as the visions of corpses follow her. Kim tries to help Ter, but her vision is blurred and red, so she sees Kim as one of the corpses. Ter laughs as she rips out her own eyes in the hopes of not seeing the ghosts anymore. However, her blindness only causes her death when she accidentally puts her face on a boiling oil and burns her head. Meanwhile, Nerd finally finds Kim, but then he sees Kim as Panner, and she taunts him. Panner provokes Nerd to shoot the gun until he finally pulls the trigger towards Kim. Fortunately, Ta takes away Kim, so Nerd runs off into the forest. There he discovers Panner in her secret hut. Nerd runs away from fear, and he suddenly gets injured. Panner appears and pulls out his teeth to make him confess. Then, a flashback plays, revealing that Nerd has sick feelings for Panner. So he had the shaman cast a love spell on her, causing her to seduce Nerd. However, he's not the only one interested in the sexy Panner. The coach also had the shaman cast a hormone spell on Panner, which caused her to keep a sexual relationship with him. When Nerd knew about Panner's affair, he ordered the shaman to put a painful curse on her. However, being sick of those hormone spells and painful curse, Panner reached out to a healer, who says that her suffering would end if she eats the flesh of the one who cursed her. But she warns her that it might make her insane. So to end her pain, Panner had no choice but to kill and eat the shaman's meat. Apparently, Panner is a victim of the selfish acts of two men's lust and greediness. The flashback ends. Nerd finds a gun and pulls the trigger at Panner, but it is out of ammo. Scared for his life, Nerd confesses everything, and he suddenly hears Kim's voice. Nerd sees Ta and Kim instead of Panner. Nerd's confession repulses Kim, so even though Nerd pleads to take him with them, Ta and Kim leave him. After that, Panner reappears, takes Nerd inside her hut, and ties him up. Nerd repeatedly screams for help, so Panner stabs him with a paralytic agent. After that, Panner pours boiling water onto Nerd's mouth. Then she chants a prayer as she roasts Nerd's hot dog using a blowtorch. After toasting his lower body, Panner uses a damp towel to take off Nerd's skin, leaving only his bones and flesh. After that, Panner proceeds to burn Nerd's whole body. On the other side, Ta and Kim come across a small shrine in the forest. They hear a phone ringing, so they look in the shrine and see Newt's bag. They quickly answer the phone and inform Newt's uncle, who is looking for Newt. Back to Panner, she performs CPR on Nerd as she refuses to let him die that easily. At that same time, police officers converge outside the hut, and as Panner drills Nerd's head, the police officers break in and shoot Panner. The following day, Kim is revived on the way to the hospital. Afterward, Kim recovers, and she sees that Ta comes to visit her. As they chat, Kim sees the news report about Panner and the bodies that the police discovered. Newt, Nerd, Ter, and Cookie were mutilated, and the last body they found in the river was Ta's, much to her horror. That explains why the boat owner gave Kim spare change previously, because Ta is dead all along. Ta shares that Panner burned him while his grandma was locked in the closet and starved to death. Shortly after Kim's parents prepare to leave, Kim suddenly jumps out of her hospital room to her death. Ta's charred body holds Kim's hand, and she whispers into his ears how she always wanted Ta to be close with her. The film ends with a final flashback of Kim betting on her friend about making Ta fall for her in 7 days. Kim refuses to lose, so she goes to the right shaman to put a hormone spell on Ta, but the shaman warns her that it will follow her to death once she seeks the power of black magic. Kim dies, holding the clay doll that the shaman gave her. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.